Take your bags and leave." My mother's voice echoed through the marble foyer like a verdict. The funeral flowers were still fresh in the hallway. The scent of lilies hung heavy in the air. 3 hours earlier, we had buried my grandfather, Admiral Richard Callahan, the man who built this house, the man who built me. Now my parents stood in the center of his $14 million mansion like new owners inspecting property. My father spun the key to Grandpa's brand new Tesla around his finger. "You heard your mother," he said calmly. "You're 26. Time to figure life out." I stared at them. This was the house where I learned to walk, where Grandpa taught me chess, discipline, and the difference between loyalty and convenience. And now they were throwing me out like I was nothing. My mother tilted her head, almost amused. "Face it," she said. "You're homeless now." The words hit hard. But before the silence could swallow the room, someone behind us chuckled. A dry, unexpected laugh. We all turned. Mr. Halverson stood near the dining room doorway, holding a folder. Grandpa's lawyer. He had served our family for decades. Quiet, precise. The kind of man who spoke only when necessary. But now he was smiling. My father frowned. "Something funny?" The lawyer adjusted his glasses slowly. "I'm just wondering," he said. "Did either of you read the entire will?" The question hung in the air like a loaded weapon. I grew up closer to my grandfather than to my parents. That wasn't an accident. Grandpa believed in structure, routine, integrity. Every morning at 6, he woke me up and dragged me to the beach for a run. Even when I hated it, "Strength isn't loud," he used to say. "It's quiet and consistent." My parents hated those mornings. They preferred comfort, money, status. When I was 14, my father told me something that stuck. "One day this house will be mine," he said while staring at the ocean through the terrace windows. "Not ours. Mine." Back then I thought he was joking. Later I realized he was already planning. The change started about a year before Grandpa died. My parents suddenly became attentive. Too attentive. My mother started asking about his health, his finances, his will. My father spent suspiciously long moments walking through the mansion like a real estate agent studying square footage. Then one night I heard them talking in the kitchen. They thought I was asleep. "14 million, my mother whispered. My father laughed quietly. "And the Tesla alone is over 100 grand. Then he said the sentence that burned into my memory. "Once the old man's gone, everything falls into place." I stood in the hallway, frozen. That was the moment I understood. This wasn't grief waiting to happen. This was ambition. But I didn't confront them, because Grandpa had already taught me the most important rule of strategy: never reveal what you know. 3 months before he died, he called me into his study. The same room where naval maps covered, the walls and sunlight, spilled across his oak desk. He looked tired, older, but his eyes were sharp. "Sit down," he said. I did. He slid a folder across the desk. "My will." I blinked. "Why are you showing me this?" He leaned back slowly. "Because I know my children." I opened the folder. At first it looked simple. The mansion, the cars, the assets, everything listed clearly. But then I reached the second page, and everything changed. A trust. Conditions. Control clauses. And one name placed exactly where it mattered. "Mine." Grandpa watched my reaction carefully. "Money reveals character," he said quietly. Then he closed the folder. "Let's see who reveals theirs." Back in the foyer, Mr. Halverson cleared his throat. "As stated," he began, reading from the document, "the Callahan estate transfers to Mr. and Mrs. Callahan." My parents relaxed instantly. My father smiled. My mother folded her arms like she had already won. "The mansion," the lawyer continued, "along with the Tesla vehicle and related assets." My father twirled the Tesla key again. Then the lawyer turned the page. "However, the inheritance is conditional." My mother frowned. "What does that mean?" Mr. Halverson looked up. "All assets are placed inside a family trust." My father scoffed. "So?" The lawyer paused deliberately. "The trust has a primary executor." My mother's patience snapped. "And who is that?" Mr. Halverson slowly turned toward me. "This young man." Silence swallowed the room. My father laughed nervously. "That's ridiculous." But the lawyer kept reading. "The trust conditions are simple. My children may live in the estate and access funds only if my grandson resides in the home and approves major financial decisions." My mother blinked. "What?" Mr. Halverson continued. If my grandson is removed from the residence or denied housing, full ownership of the property transfers to him immediately. The Tesla key stopped spinning in my father's hand. The room went cold. The lawyer closed the folder gently. So when you told him he was homeless, he shrugged lightly. You effectively evicted the owner. Panic exploded. My mother rushed toward me. Sweetheart, we didn't mean that. I stepped back. My father's face darkened. You're not seriously going to use this. I finally spoke. Calm, steady. Grandpa knew exactly who you were. Their expressions hardened. This trust wasn't about money, I continued. It was about protecting the house from people who only saw dollar signs. My mother whispered, You can't do this to us. I met her eyes. You already did it to yourselves. Then I looked at the lawyer. Start the transfer. He nodded. Calls were made, accounts frozen, authority shifted. And for the first time in my life, my parents looked powerless, too. Weeks later, they moved out. The mansion became quiet again. At night, I sit on the terrace, listening to the ocean the way Grandpa used to. I think about the final lesson he left me. Revenge isn't rage. It isn't shouting or destruction. The best revenge is patience. Because sometimes, the people who betray you don't need enemies. They just need time to walk straight into the trap waiting for them.